What's up, everybody? Welcome to the On Mission podcast. My name is Anthony.
And I'm Crystal.
Hey, and so glad you have joined us on this episode where we are going to jump into the topic of why living on mission matters. If you haven't listened to the previous episode, that might actually be good because it defines exactly what we mean by the phrase on mission. Because obviously, as we talked, a lot of people can have different
definitions
and definitions of that. Just like you telling your kid to clean up the living room. You have an idea of what that means, and so do they.
Yes.
And getting on the same page is key. So if you haven't listened to that, check out that one. But we're ready to jump into this episode, Why Living on Mission Matters. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's go.
So welcome back, everybody. When we're talking about why on mission matters, here's a question for us to consider. What happens when we stop living by default and start living by design? What might that look like?
That's a good question, right? And we could probably let's just paint a picture of that. When you think of living by default, what does that look like? Follow-up question here, but
just going through the motions, laundry, if your mom messes to clean up, and not really having a purpose. It's just like, oh, I got through another day.
Yeah, because here's the big thing too. If you're going to live a life by default, then your life is going to be shaped and formed by those around you.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So like they say that you're the sum of the actions of all the five people that you spend the most time with. And that is actually going to shape your life. So if you're not going to live a life by intentionality, by design, and I'm going to do these things because for one, I want to, number two, because I believe they're important, then you're naturally your calendar is going to be filled up with what everybody else thinks you ought to do. Mm-hmm. Your time is going to be taken up by people that will just gnaw away at that. And then you're just going through the motions. You're going through the life, doing what everybody else wants you to do.
Mm-hmm. Without direction.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm. You're checking boxes. It's like, okay. And man, this topic can fire me up, babe, because it's easy for us. Okay. We're sitting on a couch. If we're going to live life by default, then what happened? When I come home or we come home in the evenings, it's easy for us. If you don't have kids, you can sit on either end of the couch and scroll and then, send stuff through Instagram Messenger all the time. Why? You're living by default. You're not living by design of like, hey, let's have an intentional conversation here.
Which is ultimately just consuming life rather than producing in life. If you're just consuming everybody's life rather than having a mission and direction for your own life, that's more active rather than passive.
Very much. And it is easy, I think, in the American culture, especially because it's obviously what we know, to live life on autopilot. Mm-hmm. And it's like, no, I do not believe we're meant to live on autopilot.
And so if we catch ourselves living in default, what is something that can bring us back to direction?
Well, it goes back to what we talked about in our last episode. You got to know who you are. Mm-hmm. You got to know who you are, why you're here, and figuring that out. And that's a journey of discovery for you. And that will help shape your mission. That will help shape your purpose. And like we've already said, if you don't define your mission, the world will define it for you. Mm-hmm. And that is the biggest issue, I think, with, in our culture, is that we are allowing the Instagram / filter world,
any media,
social media in general, yes, shape us. And you mentioned consume, and like we find ourselves just on autopilot and by living by default. And it's like, no,
changing the world instead of letting it change us.
Yes. And that's the importance, I think, of being on mission, and people may think like, well, I'm on mission because I'm busy,
that's tempting to think that.
But yes. And I think we have to remember this, is that busyness isn't purpose. Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I'm living on mission because I'm busy. No. What are you doing? What are you filling your calendar with? Like, is it things that are actually having an eternal impact, or is it things that are just very me centric type of activities? And
Mhm.
yeah, so
So having clarity on what you say yes to.
yeah, busyness isn't purpose, clarity is.
Mm.
And that is very key. So what do we mean by this? What happens when we stop living by default and living by design? Then we stop drifting through our days. We stop just checking the boxes. We stop just waking up and thinking like, oh, I have to go to work. Oh my goodness, you get to do this. Like, I mean, there's a mindset tweak here. Like, you get to do this. I heard someone the other day, like, literally to change their mindset, they put on the wall when they woke up, congratulations, you get another day.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's the thing here, is like, you get to do these things. And when you have a mindset shift of like, I get to go to work, I get to provide for my family, I get to come home to my family, I get to spend time, not I have to. Have to is default, I get to is design.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm fired up.
Yeah, that's good. Because when you live on mission, ordinary moments turn into eternal impact.
Oh, yes.
So you could write that quote maybe on your mirror when you first get up, that a reminder that you are living on mission today, and to start your day with that mindset.
Ordinary moments that are intentional. People can take that ordinary moments as like, oh, well, we're watching TV together, we're sitting on the couch watching TV together. Yeah, you're not communicating to each other.
Yeah.
But it's ordinary moments that have intentional design. All right, so let's jump into more depth here of why does this really matter? Why living on mission matters? I think we've kind of boiled it down to like basically three reasons. We could probably come up with 10, but for the sake of this podcast, is three reasons. And the first one, we've kind of touched on this already, but it's very simple. It gives you clarity. It gives your life clarity. And
you now know what to say yes and no to.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this and shared it in different things. Is over the last probably 2-3 years, we have adopted this thing where we say no a lot more than we say yes to. And it's not that you're trying to be rude or trying to be unsociable or not go out and do things with people or whatnot. It's that you've got to say no to the good things so you can say yes to the great things. And when you know who you are, why you're here, what your mission is, and what you're supposed to bring, and the talents, gifts, and abilities, we've talked about like how we're going to live those out every day, then it changes what you say yes to. And doesn't always make you the favorite person or the most liked person in the room, but it's because you have to live with that clarity, because you can't change the world accidentally.
Yeah.
You can't wake up and be like, man, I come down to the end of my life and I just, man, I hope I left it all out there. No, it's going to require intentionality. You're not going to change the world accidentally. And people may think, well, I don't know. I don't really know what my purpose is, or I know my purpose, but it's just not the right timing. Well, purpose doesn't wait for the perfect conditions, folks. It's like you start walking in purpose. And look at us. We've talked about doing a podcast for 2 years or something. And don't be like us, and go out and do and be the change to those around you. So first reason is simply it brings you clarity.
And then clarity creates confidence in what you're living for.
I see this in teams, especially, like, and even with our kids.
Like work teams or family teams?
Both.
Or any?
I think it's really anything that is team oriented. When you are clear on the objective, on the mission, okay, so if you do have the clear objectives, if it's KPIs in business, if it's your team goals in sports, or this is the outcome we want, man, it gives you a confidence for those that are on the team. I know what I got to do.
Yeah,
I know what I got to do. It's not like I have to guess is what I'm doing really matter. No, it's like I know what the objective is. I am confident in what I'm doing now, and then we could probably expand.
And then you know how to contribute.
Absolutely. You know how to contribute. That, which is really what that is breeding, is competence.
Mm-hmm.
Is like, because my abilities are actually going to, I know what to increase my abilities on. I know what to work on. I know how to get better on in the areas, because I know I'm confident in where we're headed and how I can play a part in that. So you have this idea of clarity, confidence, contribution, competence, and that all together, let's keep the alliteration going, it breeds your culture. Whether that's your family, whether that's your ministry or your business, it doesn't matter. Those things are going to, if you're not clear, you ain't going to have a good culture. Hate to break it to you, but it's going to stink. But when you're clear, your people are confident. They know what I'm buying into. I know how to contribute. I know what to work on, how to get better, and woof, it breeds all of that. And so that requires intentionality. That stuff does not just happen. A sports team doesn't go out on the team and just, or out on the field and be like, man, I hope we're going to win today. What there was a lot of intentionality up to that point.
So some people might be listening thinking, how do I get clarity? What would be some steps to get clarity?
Listen to our previous episode. It comes back to who you are. And what I coach people on, it's identity before strategy. And we talk about this, is we wanted to know who we were as a family. Why is the Harris family on this earth for? God brought us together. We have 3 kids. What is the mission for us to live out? Not my neighbor, not the Joneses, not these other my neighbors around me. What is our mission? Why did God place us on this earth? And it's getting clear on that. And
so anytime chaos creeps in or it becomes fuzzy, it's kind of, you need to go back to the basics of the foundation.
Yes, absolutely. Because here's the deal. Mission is it's not another thing to do. People can look at this as like, oh, on mission. If on mission is just a checkbox you are checking, then you're missing the point. Our approach to this is mission is everything. It weaves its way into our supper time, our jobs, our worship, our community, whatever it may be. It's everything. It's not just the checkbox. And so it's how we do everything. And so how do you get clarity? You got to go back to the basics very much.
To your identity, calling, and assignment.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you get clear, the second step here, or second reason why living on missions matters, because it actually multiplies your impact. This is probably one that I'm really been wrestling with over the last few weeks, is because it really just allowing the thought to know that you're on this earth on purpose for a purpose. And man, if we can live life with intentionality, here's the deal. Do you want to stand before God one day and then God to tell you and just show you and say, hey, you did good, but you could have done better. I don't know how this is going to all work out in the end, but just imagine, like, here's the person that you could have been. Here's the impact you could have been if you would have lived with intentionality. I mean, is that really the life you want to live?
Yeah.
Like, or do you want to get up there and see, like, and God looks at you and says, you know what, dude, you killed it. You maxed out. You lived life with intentionality. You lived life with your purpose, and you did it, and you did it all. And well done. I don't want to live a life, come to the end of my life and live a life with regrets. And I know you don't either. We've talked about this. It's like, no, we just leave it all on the playing field of life. That doesn't happen by accident.
So it's going from default to direction.
Yes, exactly. The bottom line is here. You get intentional about your purpose and why you're on this earth, and start living a life of intentionality. It's going to catch on to those around you.
Yeah.
It's going to catch fire, and it's going to cause some people to fall away from you, and you have to be okay with that, because maybe they can't handle your intensity or your fire or your passion and all these things, that your growth. I mean, if you're going to live a life of growth, get ready for those that aren't walking down that pathway to.
It'll either awaken fire or cause fallout.
Exactly. But what it's doing, it's this multiplying your impact, So why living on mission matters. It gives you clarity, and then it obviously is going to multiply your impact. And and moving, and then the final reason is it keeps your soul alive.
It keeps you from burning out, because life is going to get messy. It's going to get overwhelming. But if you have a mission in front of you, it keeps you fighting for that.
I heard the statement in a training earlier this year: burnout does not come from working too much. It comes from doing work that drains you. That was like, okay, I'll look back at my life and different times that, where I was like, man, I come home, this is just draining me. And what you're doing, draining tasks. But when you know why you're on this earth, you know that you are living out your mission every day. Yeah, you're going to have days that suck. You're going to have days that just are like, ugh, man. But I get to go through these. Why? Because I choose to allow them to make me better. Like, I know we talk about this. It's like, oh, well, no, it's not like I'm just gritting and grinding for the sake of it. I'm doing it because I'm learning through this. I'm becoming someone else. I'm becoming the person that God designed me to be and wants me to be. And so therefore it keeps that soul alive, because adrenaline will only last so long. But when you're living on assignment and with intentionality, man, it's going to keep it going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think there's probably a lot of moms out there listening, and sometimes our work feels draining, whether you're a stay-at-home mom or if you're working outside the home and inside the home. Both of those can be very draining and tasking. But if you can keep the mindset of, I am raising up a generation that can change the world, there is so much power in that, because you now have a mission in your home. It's not just dirty dishes, laundry. You are raising up world changers. And then the laundry becomes purpose. The dishes become purposeful again, even though, it does get tiring at times. But it's always remembering the mission in front of you. Keeps you going.
Yeah. Jesus and me washing dishes. Yep. Yeah. You tell you what. So absolutely. One of my favorite things to do when I was a kid was going to a very calm river. And I remember back when we were dating, we had this one place on the river there, by White River. I don't know if you remember it. We would go there sometimes. I think we even took some pictures there. But it was a place of just calm. And I don't know if you remember this, but we would skip rocks across the river.
I do. I haven't thought about that for a while.
And there's something about it when a rock hits a very calm river or body of water, and then watch that ripple effect go out. And it just, one little pebble, what it does, it can go, several feet away. Yeah. And that, my friends, is what happens when you live on mission. There's a ripple effect that's going to go out. It's going to change everything around you. It will change those around you. Like we've already said, they're either going to join you or they're going to leave you. Like it's just, and you're in good company because it happened to Jesus. All right. Everybody didn't stay around him. And, but there's a ripple effect that actually can happen when you start living by design and not by default. And so, your family, it's going to get the best of you. You're not going to sit on the on the ends of the couch and scroll. You're going to actually have conversation with your significant other. Or you get on the floor and you play a game with the kiddos and you give them your best, and
once again, you start connecting with people instead of just consuming life. It's the active versus passive.
Yeah. And you may say, oh, that's just tough to be around or to do all the time. I get it. Can be. You can be tired. But just remember, your mission starts where your feet are in your family. If you have a family, that's your first mission field. And so
when you live on mission, even the mundane, the ordinary becomes meaningful. You're bringing back meaning into your home.
Exactly. So there's a ripple effect that goes happen. There's, the whole idea that my work, I'm not just going to work. I get to go to work. I can do my work as worship. And that's a whole other conversation, but yet, that's a powerful thing and it's been very transformational, I know, in our lives, of understanding that work, it can be worship and in all of that. And so, the other thing is your community sees consistency. They don't see confusion. And that, I think, is a very powerful thing. And like we said, people are going to notice that. People are going to see the fire, see the passion. And you may even, who knows what may happen from that.
Yeah.
That's the thing. So friends, today there is an invitation, I believe, for all of us and around this whole idea. And that is to live on mission, and remembering that it's not about perfection. It's just about presence, and that you can live a life by intentional design and not by default, and living a life of purpose, not on autopilot, but with intentionality.
Yeah. So whoever you are, maybe you're a mom, a dad, wherever you find yourself, you don't have to have it all figured out. You just have to show up where God has placed you in the moment.
Absolutely. And then ask yourself this question: where is God calling me to be more intentional at? Where is God calling me? Maybe it's to do an inventory of your life. Maybe it's if you have a family, sit down with your spouse and be like, okay, let's talk this through. Where do we need to be more intentional in our own lives? What are some things we need to cut out of our schedule? Maybe some things we need to put in the schedule. And that, I think, can be the journey of living a life that is on mission, because, you can do this. We were made on purpose, for a purpose, placed on earth at this point in time to, I think, have an eternal impact. And so, once again, yeah.
And mission isn't about doing more, saying yes to more, but it's about being clear and doing what really matters.
Yeah, absolutely. Having that clarity that will create the impact, and, and feed your soul, as we have talked about today.
So as we wrap up today, just remember, you were made for more than survival. You were made to live on mission every day.
We'll see you on the next On Mission podcast.